Is 9:23 a.m. It's Wednesday, June 26, 2024. This is to show you what is non-movement of a fake sun, and it's also at the same time showing you what is not the natural environment, as I am in Ontario, California, inside of the vehicle where the entity was group stalking in helicopter, as I revealed on video, on the night of June 25th, 2022, in the morning. That is also where the sunrise is occurring, and where I to stay inside the vehicle at that same location, parked outside of 630 North Fern Avenue and 325 West G Street, where the people of the state are pacing all around an engineered light, which is where the sunrise, that's exactly where the sun would set. That's the pattern of conduct. And that's what I'm referencing in the video that I just captured, where the demon-possessed terrorist organization under the corrupt leadership of the demon-possessed, Satan-serving Dominic Choi, whose corrupt leadership is the result, bearing the fruits of criminal activity by corrupt law enforcement agencies. This is why you have them exhibiting demon possession and engaging in criminal conduct, which is federal group stalking and monitoring, while they are stalking with the people of the state. And their demon possession as a population is also fully exposed. So on June 26, 2022, I am inside of a vehicle, which I capture in images at 9:54 in the morning. I have shown what is the presence of the sunrise outside of my living room window while I'm in Los Angeles. So there's no point where the natural environment contains or consists of the sun being over 630 North Fern Avenue in perfect alignment with me, seen through the driver's side window of the vehicle that I am inside of when I wake up and begin documenting the specific environment and the demonic activity that the people of the state are engaging in while they're group stalking me. That is compared with, again, the entity stalking in helicopters, as I just captured on video right now, and I'm going to share that video. It's the video you see at the top with the timestamp. This is captured yesterday. It's the video on the bottom, captured today, June 26th at 9:16 in the morning. I'm going to also give you what is another vivid illustration audibly. I'm not going to go through a video, but you'll recall my documentation when I went to the Glendale DMV, and the entity engaged in an outright departure from keeping a so-called sun visible outside of the leasing office window facing the hillside, while the entity is engaging in group stalking nonetheless. Engineered light, as you see moving across the dumpster, while Akeem Maradiaga is after 5 p.m. and the light source that's still over me while I'm inside of my apartment at the same apartment complex. He's group stalking with engineer light. That's exactly what the people of the state were doing, driving up and down Glen Oaks, and engineer light was moving across the DMV building while the state engaged in the pattern of conduct of crossing path with them. That is the Glendale police. Let me be clear. This is putting the demons against each other. Glendale police are not under or in the natural environment. They are group stalking. They're exhibiting demon possession, as are the Los Angeles Police Department. They're in the specific environment exhibiting demon possession, engaging in terrorism. And the demons know, the state is aware that it's being documented, which is what I continuously capture, the grounds upon which you are enhancing the charges and sentencing for the entity that's engaging in this crime, and then continues to engage in it while they are engaging in surveillance on the venue of the internet, repeating their acts of terrorism while they're being documented, which is speaking to a very serious mental illness. These are the ticking time bombs that fill the population, unbeknownst to the ordinary person. That is not demon possessed. That does not serve Satan. That is being targeted, and you don't even know it. You're surrounded by, and you're not aware of the presence of Satan as you need to be aware of it, and it is personified through the unnatural environment. Okay, so that's all prefacing what I want to show right now. The video that I'm capturing, it's currently 9:27. The light source remains outside of my leasing office window, and there is no sun that's going to be in any position to be seen through the driver's side window of the vehicle parked at Fern Avenue and G Street in Ontario. This is the P.O.C. I'm also showing, while I just compare the crime scenes, while the demon-possessed engage in stalking on a day-to-day basis, and I'm showing you the ongoing maintenance of a light source that is not the sun, and that's why I do not refer to it as the sun. The sun is indicative of a natural environment that is not maintaining stationary, stagnated presence literally at the same doorway entrance of my leasing office. And that's only Monday through Friday when I'm at work. When I'm in my apartment, there's no sun over the leasing office while it's remaining in alignment with me inside of my apartment of building 1806 on the third floor of apartment 6 facing the hillside. And as of 3 p.m., then the entity starts showing the fake sun outside of the bedroom side window. But that's only when I stay in the apartment. As you see, when I'm at the entrance of the ALVARADO Gardens, at the third floor of apartment 18165 at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning, the entity is engaging in an outright departure from keeping it over my apartment in alignment with me, over my leasing office in apartment with me, my leasing office in alignment with me. The entity keeps the light source over the top of my head while I'm looking at my leasing office and showing you how there's no sun and how it's not the sun that's also rising in alignment with me and inside of my apartment at the same apartment complex. And then you have 5 hours, 6 hours later, it's over my head at the same property. Okay, all of this is showing the multiple angles where you are identifying demon possession, where group stalking is underway in a demonic environment. So it is, again, June 26, 2024. This video I just captured moments ago. You have a demon-possessed agency engaging in surveillance with the demon-possessed population, the people of the state. The people of the state that live at Alvarado Gardens, which is a crime scene, a facilitating venue. The people of the state engaging in such criminal conduct, they are going to be treated with regard to the level of facilitation they provide, meaning they're going to federal prison for the ways in which they have aided the government to keep an American citizen under surveillance in violation of your constitutional and human rights, while also aware of the fact that they're one is enforcing their rights, intending to enforce their rights, and then continuously engaged in that system of terrorism, which is also occurring in the workplace, speaking to 24-hour ceaseless and escalating methods of terrorism and harassment as an entity that is demon possessed, and literally the elements of monitoring itself, which they are cyclically maintaining, are terrorizing in and of itself, stalking with your presence as a group, stalking with audible activity as a group, stalking with methods of light activity, stalking in that unnatural. All of this is relevant and distinct methods of terrorism. Okay, so everybody's going to federal prison that lives at the property. That's how the people of the state shall be treated who are engaging in this level of 24-hour surveillance. And this is what you see Kum Lee and James Jung engaging in. They are James Jung is driving in the parking lot, crossing path. Kum Lee is walking on the sidewalk, which is changing direction. She's crossing path while she's walking on the sidewalk adjacent to building 1810, and then she's walking toward me, crossing path while she's walking walking past my leasing office door. This is a demon that's crossing path, pacing, while the demons are on both sides in helicopters, pacing all around. They're pacing together. You saw the exact same thing after 5 p.m. yesterday while the fake sun is over me at the same exact address, while demons in helicopters flying one in front of another. It's the same pacing. So LAPD engaged in placing helicopters on both sides of the property, and they're pacing. And you have a demon driving in. And remember, they're an engineered light. And don't forget about the traffic that's surrounding the property. Don't forget about everybody that's living on the hillside. Don't forget about Glendale Boulevard and the opposite side. There's a whole hillside on this whole population. Don't forget about the demons at Silverview Townhomes who are fully participating in demonic pacing as well. I'm just showing you what's in my immediate environment, the maintenance of the elements of monitoring that is in sync with the demons who are stalking in helicopter. And it's also occurring while I'm on the watch at work. Okay, on the clock, excuse me. And I'm going to prosecute during the pockets of speaker companies who are group stalkers and who are facilitating. Let me be clear. They hired me to engage in terrorizing me with the full purpose of discarding me as a person. Okay, that's the evil and wicked and malicious intent, while the third party is in the role of an employer. This is a third party company, and every employee of this third party company is a third party group stalker. All of this is relevant to demon possession, and all the ways in which the entity is facilitating in that manner. Everybody's going to federal prison for that. Those are the consequences. You want to provide that level of aid, you want to go to federal prison, period. And that's exactly where they're going. That's why I'm subject to the pattern of conduct in the workplace. There's no distinction. The entity's not taking a pause. The entity is not at a loss for somebody to help them engage in the elements of monitoring while I'm at work. You're seeing the exact same criminal cooperative effort in sync. The specific environment in sync. There's no struggle to maintain the specific environment while I'm at work, such that speaker companies is distinct, and there's no elements of monitoring that are systematically underway. There's no specific environment. It's different here. This is an exception to the P.O.C. None of that is present. It is in sync, mirroring the identical pattern of conduct, because it is the pattern of conduct. And it's in a distinct region, and it's occurring in the workplace. So this is speaking to and establishing a distinct method of recovery for an American citizen who was subject to terrorism. Okay, let me be clear. Harassment just by a mean person in the workplace is traumatizing, can be traumatizing enough. I am subject to terrorism by the government who are acting because these are demons of the same spirit. So you're dealing with that aspect of it. And then you're also dealing with the fact that the government is literally group stalking you, threw everyone together. So there is the fact that you're cognizant of the fact that these are all demons. That's terrifying to the ordinary target individual, and that is supported by the evidence. It's not just existing in my mind. I have shown the proof of demon possession, the demonic light activity, the demonic behavioral patterns. This behavior in this environment are accomplishing federal group stalking and monitoring, the elements of monitoring. So the fact that you are demon possessed, the fact that you are engaging in elements of monitoring, it's terrorism, and it's occurring while you're trying to do your job. Nobody actually cares about you doing your job. They care about keeping you under surveillance and group stalking you and then harassing you while you are, again, yes, you're going to enforce your rights. And every psychopath that wants to feign ignorance, which no one is persuaded by, everything coming out of their mouth, everything they write down on a document, everything that's occurring, I'm going to prosecute for every minutia. Every single aspect of it, I'm prosecuting for it. Okay. And it is relevant to terrorism. It's relevant to the psychological torture and torment. And that's why you hired me, to engage in this criminal system in the shoes of the state, who was providing a body of evidence against you. And then you have a whole pre-existing body of evidence, and you are acting directly in conformity to it. So while you are sitting in front of my face and delivering documents, feigning some authority that you don't have as a third-party group stalker and a third-party company, I'm going to prosecute you, and I'm going to drain the pockets, and your company, Speaker Companies, isn't even going to survive. You cannot compensate me enough for what I have endured as the entity engages in this pattern of conduct in the workplace. They don't have enough money. They don't have it. I don't care how many properties. You cannot compensate me enough. But federal law is going to dictate, oh, we're going to try. You're going to address it. But there is no federal legislation to even approach the harms, tangible and intangible, that you suffer where a government is terrorizing you, keeping you under surveillance through the government, and doing so maliciously through the means of the people who use businesses. FedEx, a business, coming onto the grounds, group stalking you. The employees of the company, they're at work group stalking you. That's the whole purpose of their work schedule, by the way. These are psychopaths that are maliciously feigning, oh, I'm here doing the job, or you're calling a company, I'm doing my job, and they're coming onto the grounds engaging in the P.O.C. with the state in the specific environment. You can't, there's not enough, this is a never before contemplated level of damages. Okay, and justice requires that you approach that. I will tap those pockets dry, not because I want your money. It's not about a lottery. I'm not winning anything. Oh, but justice requires it. You should cease to exist as a company. You should be published as a terrorist so that the rest of the world knows why you no longer exist anymore and what was your demise, the criminal act that you engaged in. That's a matter of justice. And what happened to everybody that worked for that company? Oh, they went to federal prison. That's justice. Everybody needs to know that. Okay, so it is currently 9:36 a.m. and I'm going to show you this video that I just captured 20 minutes ago. The light source is over me, and the video at the top shows what was documented at the same exact doorway entrance while the same demon-possessed agency is stalking the helicopters, which again, this is just showing duration of time analysis, non-movement of what is not even the sun. It's a light source. This is demonic activity. It's stalking on its face. It's happening while I'm at work. And this is the basis of recovery from Todd Speaker and Speaker Companies, a documented group stalker, by the way, not only by means of facilitation, but because at the Palo Alto office, he was group stalking me while I was at the corporate office. I just want to point that out. That's grounds of federal prison. Just want to point that out. Anyway, it is the video I'm going to watch now, what was just documented 20 minutes ago.
In this direction, walking in this direction in the engineered light. Crossing path.
Hold on one second.
P.O.C. This is Comley crossing path in sync with LAPD in the specific environment. This is demonic pacing, flying in this direction, walking in this direction in the engineered light.
So she's walking on the sidewalk where you see the Pathfinder. She's walking along the sidewalk, and then she walks past me. This is zigzag. She's pacing. The path of the sidewalk provides ongoing crossing of path. And this is a demon in a helicopter that is also a crossing path. And it's the demon that's honking their horns. It's audible activity. It's in sync with the movement of my arms. And it is also providing ongoing monitoring behavior. It's audible activity creation while in the path, maintaining presence, and also driving in the parking lot. This is exactly what Akeem Maradiaga was doing while I was inside of my apartment. The entity was doing the same thing, 2 helicopters crossing path. This is after 5 p.m. and I'm aiming my camera toward here. And that demon, Akeem Maradiaga of 1802 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 2, driving the black Jetta, where Ryan and Clarissa Abundis are group stalking with Joseph and Enzo Abundis, 2 little children who are engaged in crossing of path. They've made them terrorists and sex offenders. That's a sex offense underway while I'm inside of a private space. Let me be clear. That's why they're losing custody of their children. They literally engaged in a sex offense and terrorism with children. You will find out. You're going to learn how quickly you lose custody of your kids engaging in abuse with the government on camera. Okay, so the entity is engaging in what is crossing path. An engineer light moved across this dumpster. That was what Kim Meridiaga, a demon group stalking. That's what the entity, in other words, engaged in. James Jung is crossing path in the same parking lot, and this is where the light source is over me at the same property. And you're looking at the same pattern of conduct that I documented at this property yesterday after 5 p.m. That's not the sun. But what I have at the top is 12:47. 1:05 is when the video ends, and the light source is at the same position at my leasing office. It's the P.O.C.
Crossing path in the light source. That's a demon that's honking their horn with simultaneity to my physical movement. The light source is over the property. This is P.O.C. This is the state acting in sync with the demons that are the people of the state. That is James Jung, who's monitoring with Kum Lee, who are pacing around in the...
So James Jung and Kum Lee are surrounding while they're crossing path on both sides of my person, moving around, in other words, in the engineered light. None of this is sunlight. All right. And the entity LAPD are surrounding on both sides in the sky space. And these are just the two helicopters that I see. The entities engaged in massive surveillance in the sky space and all around, like I said, the properties and those that are group stalking Amazon, those that are running businesses. And just like you saw yesterday, FedEx just coming onto the grounds, engaging in some routine, just a little bit of terrorism, and then they drive right go on about their business for the rest of the workday. All right, you're going to punish that. This is what the people of the state using their companies are engaging in. I'll just drop in and Starbucks, do a little bit of group stalking, and then go on with the rest of my day, go to the spa and go pick up my kids. They're in the back seat while I'm molesting the target individual with engineered light while the entity is flying circles over their head. And then I'm going to go on back and go golfing with my husband. This is what these so-called demons in LA like to engage in. And they're psychopaths, they're demon possessed, and they are nothing impressive. They're nothing to mimic. You have a lot of people that are going to federal prison for this. Everybody at Alvarado Gardens, for example. They're going to federal prison. So this is the unnatural environment, and this is movement all around in the engineered light. This is what demons are doing. They're moving all around me, and over my head at this same entrance in front of my leasing office is the light source.
Environment, pacing on the opposite side in helicopters. Unnatural environment. It is currently...
It's 9:16 in the morning where you're looking at this. So I'm at the same entrance at the video at the top. Again, this is captured at 12:47. So this is over 3 hours later, and I'm at the same leasing office.
Prison for that. Tiffany Sherez represents the same demon, the different face, same condition. P.O.C.
Hold on one second.
P.O.C. The light source is directly above me. They're stalking directly above.
Okay, so first of all, this is the state, and this is demon possession that you know on its face, because the light source, that's not the sun. And you're looking at elements at this point. So you're analyzing what's going on with regard to demonic activity. This is crossing path in the engineered environment. This is audible activity in the engineered environment. And then you have the people of the state that are maintaining presence all around in the apartments at the complex. And then the demons that drive around, walk around, stalking in the laundry rooms, walking all around like Kum Lee is. This is all monitoring conduct, movement around in the engineered light. They're like cockroaches, and they're just crawling all around in the engineered light while a fake sun remains over me all day long. So this is this vantage point is speaking to, again, the state is group stalking. Where the state is group stalking, the state's group stalking with the people of the state. That's the government that's stalking in helicopters. This is how these demons in California like to engage in terrorism and practice their satanic ritualistic behaviors. They do so with helicopters. That's just how it looks in California. Group stalking is occurring in other states in the nation. They may or may not have access to helicopters, but this is the pattern of conduct in California. They utilize their helicopters to engage in terrorism, and it's demonic activity. It's the grounds, by the way, for the demilitarization of these corrupt law enforcement agencies. You're disbanding, and you're also for the safety of the American public. This is what's going on in California. So while I did not specifically document, meaning I didn't experience the group stalking conduct by some random police agency in Northern California, all right, they are being documented. They're being exposed. This is what the whole state is doing. And it is providing the basis for what I advocate, the demilitarization of law enforcement agencies, because this is what Satan is doing amongst these law enforcement agencies. And they are preparing for a war against unexpected American citizens who are under surveillance, and you don't even know it. You're not even aware of it. They have armored weapons. They've got helicopters. They're bearing weapons, and they are masquerading as law enforcement agencies who are out here serving and protecting. And yes, I can speak as to the entirety of the state. Yes, I can. I have established the state's criminal system. I have established that. It is a pattern of conduct, and it is indisputable. It is insurmountable evidence of what is a consistent system. It doesn't matter the specific name. I'm showing you what is a statewide system. And yes, I can speak to the entirety of the population in California. I absolutely can. And while I am showing this pattern of conduct, it also, just as a cautionary measure, you're talking about demilitarization of the law enforcement agencies in California based on the crime committed by the state, where the government is engaging in this. I don't care if you want to state that you're some exception. You're not. But I don't care if you want to argue and contend that you're some exception up in Northern California, or in some corner in California. We're not group stalking over here. We don't know what the target individual is talking about. We don't serve Satan. I'm a Baptist. I love the Lord. I don't care what you're claiming. You're talking about what is establishing the grounds for the demilitarization. What the state is prosecuting and engaging. When you are documented, prosecuted for federal group stalking and monitoring, there are implications for the rest of the state. Everybody else, in other words, there's probable cause, and it's a cautionary measure. And this is putting, by the way, a microscope on everybody in the state of California under the analysis of the federal government. Just want to point that out to you. So these are all the implications that are created where this new landscape has existed, that the government is monitoring. The government is doing it through corrupt law enforcement agencies. And by the way, it starts with the people acting in sync with the government. The corrupt law enforcement agencies. And this is under the farce, the illusion of some free society, privacy. Okay. And it doesn't exist. You're going to the bank, you're going to the doctor, they're monitoring you. You don't have private information, and people that you're standing by, you don't know their names, and they're aware of what's going on your cell phone. And they're actually engaged in real-time operation control of the operation of your internet and your cell phone. And you're just thinking that you have a failed signal. There are demons all around you, and they're invading your privacy. And so this demonic activity is hereby criminalized because it's the state that's doing it. The state is interested in exposing what it, or being all in your business, if you will. You don't have any privacy. And because it's originating with the government that serves Satan and doing it through. So this is, in other words, what I'm speaking to is demon possession by those who are in the government. This is demonic activity. But because the government, is engaging in this demonic activity, this is the ability to prosecute, because the government doesn't have any right to engage in group stalking. You are necessarily stalking when you're engaging in the elements monitoring. You are necessarily stalking where the fake sun is over me, and you are always present in a helicopter. When I go to the Walmart, you're stalking in a helicopter flying over my head. When I'm sleeping in a car outside, you're flying in circles over me in helicopters. When I'm inside of my apartment, you're flying over my apartment in helicopters. You're flying in circles outside of my apartment for 47 minutes. You're flying in relevant position over everyone around me, which is a means of nothing other than relevant positioning. It's not the target. It's not the people of the state that are the target. You're understanding the malice with which a demon-possessed population is targeting you. Okay? It's also within a body of conduct, a pattern of conduct, a body of evidence speaking to, they're flying over building 1802. They are group stalking me while doing so. Everybody in building 1802 are group stalkers. All right. And I have a whole body of evidence of the same behavior starting from 2018. So the entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct, and you are group stalking. You're stalking necessarily. The government doesn't have a right to do that. And you're prosecuting for that. And it's just relevant, by the way, that they're demon possessed. It's demonic. And that is also going to be a method of recovery. I'm going to prosecute you for serving Satan, for exposing me to your psychotic and demonic ways while you're stalking me. I'm going to prosecute you for terrorism. All right. So anyway, it's currently 9:46 a.m. And again, the light source is outside of my leasing office window. It's not outside of a vehicle parked on Fern Avenue and G Street with regard to the natural environment. You're going to prosecute based on the circus environment that a demon possessed is stalking you in. And so as it follows, there's only one sun, and that one sun is not going to be seen through the driver's side window of a vehicle parked on Fern Avenue and G Street in Ontario, California, where for the duration of that day, I also maintained documentation showing that light source, that so-called sun, stayed over me all day long. There's no point ever where the sun could be rising through my living room window in Los Angeles over the hillside, and I still stay at this property for the duration of the day, and it's still over me. When I engage in a departure and I go to the Glendale DMV, which is also not providing any way for a sun to be seen outside of a window over 630 North Fern Avenue in Ontario, and yet it's over me while I'm documenting the license plate of demons driving the Glendale Police Department vehicle. And engineer lights also moving across the building. That's also letting you know what's going on. There's relevant context. The pattern of conduct. There's a whole system and a whole body of evidence that's connecting all the dots, showing a system. Okay, so this is 3 hours, 9:16 to what was 12:47 in the afternoon. And the entity is stalking in helicopters while the sun that's over me at the bottom, you see it over me at I'm standing in front of my leasing office, and at 3 hours, over 3 hours later, which is what is established as I documented yesterday, June 25th, which is I've been documenting on an ongoing basis. The sun is rising and setting as I stay at this property. Period. This is how you get a fake sun, not the sun, that's going to be over me in alignment to me as I'm driving up and down Clifford, both at 9:36 in the morning and also at after 6 o'clock in the evening. That's how you get that. That's how you get that. That's a scientific impossibility that could be the sun, the natural environment. However, that's a pattern of conduct that's occurring, not the natural environment. All right.
Alrighty, that is P.O.C. Well, again, you're recognizing what is targeting.
I am standing in front of the same leasing office that I am standing at this morning at 9:16 in the morning. So this is speaking to the pattern of conduct of federal group stalking. And while this light source is in alignment to me while I am standing outside of my leasing office, you're talking about going from what is the left side of my person, which is a general reference to what is the east, to the right side of my person. And so from 9:16 in the morning, it's on the left side, and what is at 12:47 until 1 p.m., you're looking at what's at the top of my head. The entity's in the process of keeping a fake sun over me, going from the left side of my person to the right side. That's how you have a sunset. And I put that in air quotes. This is the demonic environment, the specific environment centered around me where a demon-possessed population, including a corrupt law enforcement agency, under whose leadership a Dominic Choi is going to be permanently removed. And he is exposed as a demon-possessed group stalker as well. This is occurring because you have what is a complicit spirit. All right. Satan is in leadership over the Los Angeles Police Department. That's why you have the demonic activity underway. Just want to let you know that's how that works. And you also have, with regard to in the natural, you can take it out of the spirit. You can't take it out of the spirit, but I can prosecute based on your criminal activity. You are derelict in your duties, period, while you are in a position of leadership, and this size of public corruption is underway. Yes, you will be removed also based on that disqualification and your the inept position that you are the inept performance while you're in that position. This is something that you are not reasonably able to contend that you're ignorant about. So under both circumstances, but I want you to know Dominic Choi serves Satan. That's why under his demonic leadership, you've got the demon-possessed stalking in helicopters. That's how you get there. Okay? So this is the light source that's over me.
That you're recognizing to the unnatural environment, targeting also through timing with regard to surveillance on my communication device, and targeting with regard to what the people of the state are doing in that unnatural environment. Erica Martinez, by the way, exactly 9:16 in the morning. On June 5th, 2024, I am at the Glendale DMV. There's no sun that's going to be here while it's remaining over me as a matter of video and image documentation where the entity's group stalking. The light sources over Glendale police who are group stalking at the Glendale on Glen Oaks Boulevard, the Glendale DMV. That these are indeed demons who are pacing in helicopters and
So I'm looking at the same exact location. I'm in front of my leasing office, and I'm facing the same direction. The light source is over the top of my head. In the video above, the entity is maintaining a fake sun over me all day long, rising on the east side of my person, setting on the west side of my person, which is why in the evening, the light source is seen directly over the building. This is building 1802 over this palm tree, and you can see the shadow of the palm tree that's laying flat on the roof. But again, that's only based on where I'm at. When I'm inside of my apartment, like I documented yesterday, inside of my apartment where you saw these same demons group stalking in helicopters and the people of the state pacing all around, just like Kum Lee and James Jung were doing in this parking lot this morning at 9:16. The light source, which is not possibly the sun, to be present, let's count from 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 hours from now, when I am already outside of I'm not in my office at 5 p.m. I'm inside of my apartment, and I'm showing you the absence of any sun that's over a palm tree while I am inside of my apartment. I'm facing my camera toward this direction. There's no sun over building 1802, which is its location when I walk out of my office every other day, where this light source is remaining stationary over me all day long at the leasing office. When I'm in my apartment, that's where the fake sun is, and that's why there's no sun here. But you see the entity engaging in the pattern of conduct. Nonetheless, that's called stalking with a fake sun. And that's how you have a light source. That is it's 9:52 in the morning. So I'm going to show you where the fake sun is on this day in 2022. And it's not the natural environment such that's not the sun that I'm capturing. That's a light source. That's how you have that impossible happening. I am exposing to you what is not the natural environment that surrounds you, that surrounds us. It's a demonic environment. It's a demonic imitation. You've been given plenty versions of what's going on in the environment. For example, climate change and the if you're paying attention to this light source, it's a hovering light source. It's literally in alignment with my window that's on the third floor of an apartment building. That's not the sun, and it's also has nothing to do with climate change. Satan, like I said, is a spirit, and the personification, the presence of the wicked, the presence of the demented and twisted, in other words, you can see it personified through the unnatural environment. This maintenance of this light source, no matter where that I'm going, that obsession, that demonic obsession, I've shown it through the environment, and it is shared. It is the condition, the spiritual condition, if you will, of those that are flying in helicopters, group stalking, and those that are maintaining presence all around me, group stalking. You're not doing anything but group stalking in this specific environment. Whether I know your name or not, it's irrelevant with regard to the government system of keeping you surrounded, whoever you're surrounded by. All of the false premises upon which federal group stalking and monitoring, which is not what it's termed, the ordinary person, the ordinary group stalker, Satan itself, that uses people to maintain the illusion that group stalking is not something that's singularly maintained by someone who suffers from paranoid schizophrenia. They like to throw that around a lot. The ordinary group stalker is somehow some psych major. There's some ability to mentally diagnose, and they are the ones suffering from mental illness. And I have shown that through their criminal and demented pattern of conduct. They, on the other hand, literally just engage in name calling because they are engaging in what is entirely demonic, and that is supposed to be a secret. That is not so. It's easier to call names to one who lacks the evidence to prove or establish, or they probably can't even understand or recognize what they are subject to. You don't even know why. You don't know why it's coming at you. So you're calling that person names, and this is facilitated. That's criminal defamation, whether it's happening on the internet, whether it's coming out of the mouth of a so-called psychiatrist, and the pattern of conduct is underway. You're talking about a lot of people going to federal prison. That's very serious conduct, and it's state action, by the way. The government is speaking through those third party and state actors, and that is the P.O.C. People calling names about targeting individuals, and group stalking is very real, and it's a government system. So it's currently 9:55. The light source is out my leasing office window. Here it is right here, and the entity that is witnessing its exposure is stalking a helicopter right now, and they are doing so providing an ongoing body of evidence against the people of the state. That's amplification and crossing path, and they're doing so exhibiting demon possession. They are the same entity that was group stalking a helicopter. And this is the light source that's visible over 325 West G Street at 9:54 a.m. This is where the LAPD is group stalking, and these are demons group stalking in a specific environment. Flying right over at the same time, and the entity that's providing evidence also against the people, speaker companies. The corporate office is going to federal prison. I'm going to drain the pockets of speaker companies. They are fully engaged in and facilitating federal group stalking and monitoring, which is committed by the population who are the people of the state. This is not outside of the window of a vehicle parked at 325 West G Street, and the government is group stalking in concert with the people of the state. I am physically surrounded right now. This is speaking to a specific environment. I'm facing the hillside. This is no shared sky space, and you cannot see this through the window. And this is also not over 325 West G Street in Ontario. This is also what you see at the bottom at 9:54 on this day in 2022. This is also where you see the entity stalking a helicopter in the specific environment. That's what you see LAPD doing. Where the sun rises is in alignment to me. This is where the entity is stalking in helicopters. Where the sunset is in alignment to me, this is where the entity is stalking in helicopters, and that's a specific environment. In addition to that, you're juxtaposing the crime scenes. Where you see in the bottom, this is where the entity is stalking helicopters, like I showed you last night, with the people of the state who are crossing path with engineered light all over surfaces, engineered light moving across the dumpster like Akeem Mary Diaga engaged in, exhibiting demon possession. And you have the people of the state that are pacing in traffic while they're group stalking with the Ontario Police Department, the same demon possessed agency that provides evidence to the people's demise. Dominic Choi and the LAPD, that's very simple. They're already done. That's the state of California. Not intricate whatsoever. The whole population is group stalking. And this is insurmountable and irreducible evidence of it. This is why you have the impossible over 325 West G Street while I am facing the hillside, the same hillside where I captured the sunset. And only a delusional psychopath would engage in this ongoing terrorism while you're exposed. And so this is speaking to not only is Dominic Choi and the men and women of the LAPD done with law enforcement, and you're talking about federal prison, it's not going to be a mystery who's doing what, but the entity is also going to be subject to mental examinations because this is speaking to what is necessary, cleansing the population and also addressing the demented mind state of those those that are under this condition, which is legally relevant, and the criminal conduct that's a result of your condition. But it's not stopping your ability to make decisions. This is corruption by law enforcement agencies. Karen Bass is not ignorant about this corruption that I'm exposing. Let me be clear. Robert Luna, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, fully engaged in the same documented pattern of conduct, as are the demon-possessed LAPD. I'm not even going to call them men and women. These are psychopaths that are stalking, and they do so when they are fully exposed, and that is, again, revealing the demented mind state of a corrupt government that is fully exposed, engaging in criminal conduct, okay? So let's just be clear. It is currently it should be about 10 o'clock, 9:58. There's no sun that's going to be anywhere near the same address outside of my bedroom window after 5 p.m. And this is where the entity was engaging in the same conduct, stalking in helicopters, engineer light moving across a dumpster, while the people of the state are employing children. Like I continuously do, they like to employ children into this whole population you removed that lives here. This is a light source that's not over 325 West G Street. You can see it through the windshield of the vehicle that's parked on this property. That's called a specific environment. The entity provides evidence against itself. Your group stalking with the government, you're going to federal prison, okay? You're going to be treated like the terrorist because you are a terrorist. It is currently 9:58 a.m. This is P.O.C.